Okay, so now let's look at another keystroke. This is also a buy key, and it's F11. F11 is a limit buy. Now here's what's going to happen. Let's say I want 500 shares, and I don't want to bid on the bid because for fear that the market's going to move higher and I'm not going to get anybody to sell to me, and that's going to happen. So you have to take from the offer, taking liquidity from the offer. Well, if I want that 59 but nothing greater than, I've got this thing set at 500 shares. So if I hit F11, the order will I'm not going to hit it because it's an automatic order. It'll go all, I don't have to hit enter, meaning it'll be an instantaneous order. So be aware, you don't have to hit F11 and then hit enter. This is an immediate fill. And whatever doesn't get filled stays at that level and becomes a bid. Now I'm not going to do it again, but if I were to hit F11, more than likely I would get 100 shares. He would leave, and then my bid would be showing 400 shares at $1.59. So I got filled for 100. And I'm bidding for the other 400. That's what would more than likely happen right here if I hit F11, because my default is set to 5. If he is showing more than 100, if he's selling more than 100, but he's only showing 100, maybe he's got 1,000 back there, I'll get all 5 of it, and all 5 of it will pop up, and that's an instantaneous fill. So that's called a fill. It's not a fill or a kill, or a fill or cancel, because fill or cancels will try and get what's there and then cancel the remainder of what's left over. In this case, the F11 key will try and get what's on the offer at 59, and if it doesn't get all of it, then you become a bidder at 59, and the level 2 kind of flips. So hopefully that makes sense. So likewise on the sell side, if I'm long and I'm thinking I just want to get out and there's 2,400 shares there, I know I can get out with one click of the keystroke. I'm going to hit F2. So F2 is your limit sell. And for any reason, if he left before I hit the key and I only got 100 shares of it, then 57 would become the new offer. And that would be me sitting there trying to clean up the rest of my order, which was set for 500. So remember, the keypad on the right are the only ways to change the tier size, which I'm doing right now. That's the best way to do it before you send your order, because what I would do, let's say I wanted to only sell 200 shares to this guy. Well, I'd click the 2 on the keypad, and then I would hit F2, and 200 shares would be immediately sold, and he would probably, this would be adjusted to 2,200 shares, because I took 2 out of the 2,400 being advertised on the bid. So those are the 4 keystrokes that I use 90% of the time. Let's show you guys how you may want to create another keystroke. Well, before I do that, I do have one more here. This one is not a function key. I call it a bail key. And bail in this case means everything that you're in. If you're in 4 positions, 2 of them long, 2 of them short, if I hit Control B, it's going to sell half of everything. And let's go into the keystroke so you guys can see exactly how we're configuring this. What you do is you go C, and then we're looking for, I believe, keyboard. Okay, here's how this is working out. These are my actual keystrokes. It's called a map. They're mapped in here, and most of the fields are empty. And then as you can see, I go down, there's certain orders. These on the right hand side are all my order options, and of these order options, they're arranged in different chapters or different settings. To do, let's see here, let's click on this, close out entire position order, because I want to create a keystroke here that will close out an entire position. And then on our options here, we have ARCA bid, close out, and ARCA offer. Well, that's not what we want, because that means if we want to get out in an emergency, bidding an offer is not going to get us out. We want to close out the position with a like a smart order. And so in this case, we're using ARCA ECN to hit the bid and get us out if we're selling. And the way in which we assign that key, I'm going to assign it to the F1 key by itself. F1 with nothing else to hit with it. No shift, no control, no nothing. And the way this is mapped out, here's this first one in orange is the naked key. This is a naked F1 key. This level here, you can see is SF1. That stands for Shift F1. C stands for Control F1, and A stands for Alt F1. Those are pretty much your key options with any key that's in here, whether it's a W or a V. So you got your Shift V, Control V, and alternate V. But as far as the functions go, you can't have a naked key that doesn't have anything associated like a shift or a control. I usually like to get into positions with that F11 key if I'm buying, or if I'm shorting, I like to hit the F2. or I will just do a bid or do an offer and send it that way. They're both pretty much the same thing. Once I send enter, all this information in here goes to the market. But the F2 and the F11, once I hit those buttons, that's a immediate fill on whatever number is in here. So what could happen is, let's say you want 200 shares, and you hit F11, but you don't get it, but you're sitting there at the bid, and you think, well, why didn't I get it? So you hit it again, and then you've got 200 shares, but then somebody comes back up, and you forgot that the first time you hit it, you're still bidding. And so that bid gets hit, and you wind up getting what's called a double fill. You get a 200 and a 200. What in effect happened was your 200 didn't get filled, so it sat there on the bid and became an advertised limit order on the bid. And then you wanted the stock, and you saw that you didn't get it, so you hit the button again, and then you're filled for 200 shares on the offer. And if the offer comes back and fills your first 200 bid, well, you've got 400. So I hope that makes sense. All right, so those are some basic keyboard commands for you, and you can kind of experiment with that, but they're all done pretty much the same way. But those are the ones I use the most. And again, let me just show you here. I forgot. Let's go back to keyboard, and this is a miscellaneous size order, I believe, and it's closeout. Okay. If you're long and you have more than one position, which is probably doubtful for somebody who's just starting out on this, but let's say I've got 3 positions and I want to get out of all of them. Well, I'm going to use this B key. As I said earlier, B stands for bail. Alt B is going to close out everything. If I'm long 3 positions and I hit Alt A, the machine's going to sell it for me regardless. If I hit C, Control B, it's going to sell half. So sometimes if we want to lock in some profits and we have too many positions to manage at once, we might hit Control B and just lop off the top half there, and it's a quick, easy way to get out and keep those profits before the bid backs up as you're trying to execute order by order, stock by stock. Chances are you won't use that, but that's another key that I do use. Okay, let's move the camera over here to the other desktop, because I think I figured out a way to do that. Alright, basically this is the other side of my desktop. It's after hours, so the alerts are not coming through, but I keep this area here for my alerts, so when you first load it up, it'll more than likely look like that. And I fill in that area with my customized alerts. And then over here we have the spiders and the cues on the top and the spiders below, so I never have to really keep typing them in. I always just look over and keep an eye on what these things are doing. And again, I'm using moving averages on them, just trying to keep it simple, looking for support and resistance areas as we go through the day. So let me bring the camera back over here. This up here is your order window. You can sort it. It's a little tricky sometimes if you want to see what orders are current. They're in white. Orders that are being executed are partial fills, turn yellow, and once they are completely filled, they turn green. And any order that I cancel on there doesn't show up because it's a canceled order. All these are basically buys and sells. And this window is your position window. You've seen that a million times. Pretty self-explanatory. This right here, the way you get this is from the palette. It's an order entry window, and it's under this DE. If you click on that, you'd open up another one. And it's linked to whatever you type in here. As you can see, it changed. So if you're uncomfortable using keystrokes, you can always use this. Let's say you're long 100 Dell. Well, you want to get out of it, and you don't know how the market or the keystrokes work. Just catch your breath. First thing you want to do is click on shares. Well, you need to put your 100 shares in here of whatever you have, okay? And then if you want to get out and you're long, you want to sell, well, you're going to want to sell to the bid. So if you touch this guy here at Island, watch what happens over there in that field. Everything switches to Island. It knows you're going to sell. It knows you're going to sell 100 shares. It's got the price loaded in there because I touched it. So everything is good. So all you really have to do is click on there, type in your shares. If you have an odd lot of, say, 125, touch the person you want to sell to, and then click go. And that would execute an order. Likewise, if you're short and you can't get out, or you're long, you want to get in, you type in, say, 230 shares or whatever you want to do, odd lots, click this guy over here, and you can see this window just went to green. It's all set up to buy at 21.45, which is the price that I touched from Island. And all I would have to do is click that go, and I'd get that fill. So if you're ever in a panic as to what's going on with keystrokes, take a breath, and you can use this order entry thing. Again, the first step is typing your shares. then touch the person you want to execute with, and click go. So it's really just a 3-step process.